GT Blankies proudly presents Musings with Steve and Teresa. They're here to enlighten, entertain, and inform about issues they think are important. They want people to think about how positive actions make positive people. Their show is captured and linked to YouTube. The programs are listed in the archives of both Blog Talk Radio and YouTube video, and you can watch it as well as listen. Now on with the show.
Hello everyone, welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Our show is captured and linked to YouTube. The programs are listed in the archives of both Blog Talk Radio and YouTube as Musings with Steve and Teresa. Links can be found on our Facebook page, and you can watch as well as listen. Strangely enough, we refer to our efforts as Musings with Steve and Teresa, and I'm Steve, a co-host.
I'm Teresa's other co-host.
And our guest, Patrick Dingle, who's the Business Development Specialist for Ohio State University South Center's Business Development Network currently at Piketon, Ohio. We're here to enlighten, entertain, and inform about issues we think are important. We want people to think about how positive actions make positive people. And we'll get right into it here. Patrick, we invited you on the program today to explore some of the thoughts that we have been talking as a group.
Well, I very much appreciate being involved with your program. I've had a chance to watch every show that you had. Yes, I do provide a little bit of technical background. And I noticed that you started the Blog Talk and the YouTubes to help sell baby blankets. And I've had an opportunity to look at some of your baby blankets. And it is interesting, you brought I think one of my favorites and one of your favorites.
Yes, it's a cow fleece. Orange cow fleece, because there's going to be other cow fleece colors. But it's one of my favorites. I was very happy with the way it turned out, with the tying of the string, stuck it together, and I liked it. It turned out pretty good. That's why I brought it back, because it's one of my favorites.
and I know that you're using social media to be involved in helping individuals understand a little bit about baby blankets, but more importantly about some of the musings. Like, how did you guys start with musings with Steve and Teresa?
Well, I first come up with the idea of thoughts, and that was a little bit
rough on the tongue.
Well, not so much rough on the tongue, which was the concept of thoughts had more organization to it than musing.
Yeah.
Musing is to me is as I wander down this way and I find a spur to the creek and I wander off this way and so forth, and so I come up with a potpourri, if you will, of ideas, and sometimes they're nested in a philosophical concept. They tie together.
They're just neat.
I was interested in it.
Well, that kind of sums up the shows over the last year. I mean, we've gone over here, we've gone over there, we go over there, we go over there, we go up there. But I like the stuff we talk about.
I've been interested in all the stuff I've talked about.
Now, if y'all haven't, then you need to post some suggestions on the Facebook page for this year.
Boy, that is true. You know, it's interesting. I watched you progress from completely scripting out to sitting down and talking comfortably. Obviously, anyone can get involved in podcasts and blog talk.
Yep.
You seem to make it so easy. There's probably not a lot of preparation that you do, or is there?
Well, there used to be a tremendous quantity. I mean, 15 to 20 hours for a 15-minute show. I mean, we still do prep. I mean, he did like 4 hours last night researching jokes and other things, you know, and I've been thinking about it for a week, and hard for the last 3 days, and yeah, there's preparation, but it's not hard anymore.
Well,
for me anyway.
The thing is, the first part, actually, as far as when we started, they just said, been doing this for a year, was what do we want to do and how do we do it? Right. Now, it's like driving a car. The first time you drove down the street, you had to remember, put your foot on the brake, put your foot on the accelerator, look in the rearview mirror, and so forth. Now
we know what
VW said it. It says you drive the car for 2 weeks and it becomes automatic.
Yeah.
Now that's an old one for those kids that didn't know that VW had a stick shift when they started. but it does. We've become adapted to the many decisions that
and I've amassed a gigantic database. I mean, and then one thing we do is if we're going to talk about something, we want to get it right. We do check our facts. We do try to get the story straight anyway, and try to get both sides if it's an issue we're discussing. But there is prep, but it's not like it was before.
I know that you have a lot of humor intermixed with the program. Why?
Well,
the other stuff gets boring. We
can be a little dry.
over the holidays, one of the grandchildren was saying it to a great grandchild is, they've got a lot of stories and some of them are hilarious and others are not. So
we try to mix it up.
So what are some favorite stories that? I know you share a lot of different ones, etc.
Well, I've been getting geezer jokes.
Geezer.
I'm an old geezer.
Well, that's true. You and I are the
one of them that the couple had been debating the purchase of a new automobile for weeks, and he wanted a new truck. She wanted a fast little sports car so she could zip through traffic and around town. He would probably have settled any old beat-up truck, but everything she seemed to want was out of their price range. She says, look, I want something that goes from 0 to 200 in 4 seconds. And my birthday's coming up. You could surprise me. And so for her birthday, he did surprise her. He bought her a brand new bathroom scale.
Digital, of course.
0 to 200. That is a geezer joke from the perspective of the older group.
Well, I know that we have 2 more mature individuals in this group and one young lady that's in between the 2 older individuals, etc.
Now, well, her humor is
a little different.
Yeah. Do you have a funny thing?
Oh yeah, I got some. Your old if. And the scary thing about this is he talks about me being young, but I remember. It's like it's when your mom wore nylons that came in 2 pieces. Now, some people are going, 2 pieces? What the heck, Pantyhose haven't been around forever.
Well, and you remember the stripes going down the...
Yeah, the seams. Those were seams.
Well, in the 40s, they came out with seamless.
Yeah.
But,
I remember my mother. And when we would go to church, she also had this veil.
Yeah.
That was...
Yeah, I'm a hat person. I think hats.
But do you have a veil?
No.
Huh. What was the veil for?
I think when it was like for funerals and stuff, I think it was just to add a little allure of mystery. At the time the movie stars were wearing stuff like that. I mean, other people were wearing... I've watched a lot of old movies.
I'm trying to remember myself that the veil often was on all hats, but it was pushed to the side or bunched up, and then it became similar to a flower. I mean, it would just...
Well, I think maybe, too...
If it had a function...
If you wanted to cry, you could hide behind your veil. I don't know.
This is what I heard about, and maybe you showed me something. Maybe I seen that. But young ladies that were getting married, they would put a veil over it. Do you know why?
Oh, that's just so that the husband doesn't see her before the ceremony.
Well, I thought so too, and it has to do with. It comes from back in the medieval time when there was a belief that there was somebody would give you the evil eye, and I know in some cultures there's always a concern about imparting some kind of energy on another individual that's negative, and so they call that the evil eye. And so to protect the woman that was getting married, they wore a veil, so that way they would not see the evil eye of another individual.
That's interesting.
That would be a good reason. I mean, the other was, of course, as it came down, they veil your women so another man can't look at them.
So we have alluring, avoiding the evil eye, and what's mine is mine. And
what's mine's mine. What's mine, yours is mine too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you were talking about some geezer. Some older, mature.
It's here. It says if you're not old, if you can remember this here. It says when you got your windshield cleaned, your oil checked, and your gas pumped without asking for free every time.
Wow.
And you got trading stamps too.
I remember those trading stamps.
Yes, we bought a lot of stuff with trading stamps. Yeah, I remember they stopped doing some of this stuff for free back in the 70s when I started driving. I hadn't been driving long, but that's when the self-serve started and some of the other stuff back in the 70s. I missed some of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you remember when nobody owned a purebred dog?
Yeah. And now everybody wants purebred dogs.
Well, actually, they're going back. Dennis said that Mr. Wilson said his dog, Ruff was a purebred mongrel.
Purebred mongrel.
We got another story here that I thought was pretty cute. It's an angry wife was complaining about her husband spending all of his free time in a bar. So one night he took her along with him. He says, "What do you have?" she asked. She says, "I don't know, same as you, I suppose." And so the husband ordered a couple of Jack Daniels, and he threw his down in one shot. His wife watched him, and then she took a sip from her glass and immediately spat it out and said, "Yuck, that's terrible." He said, "I don't know how you can drink this stuff." And he says, "There you go. You think I'm not enjoying myself every night?"
But this stuff is terrible. Terrible.
That is interesting.
But now the humor changes with our viewpoint and the time of year.
Well, and also, when we first started researching jokes for our shows, it was that, I mean, sometimes finding a good joke does take 4 or 5 hours, because what passes for humor and a lot of the internet sites, I don't think it's funny at all.
Well, vicious,
mean, or filthy,
derogatory.
Yeah.
And we don't. Our humor doesn't. We don't go for that kind of. Especially not for our show. We want to keep it for everybody.
Well, I always have liked stories that have a concept behind them, and the humor actually is in the people's manipulation of the rules. I mean, like the guy that gives his wife she wants something that goes from 0 to 200 to give her a bathroom scale. I mean,
that's pretty funny.
Well, it is, and compliance but surprise.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we had the technology that we have today when we were growing up? We did not. In my household, we did not get a TV until I was 7 years old. I had no concept of what a TV was. And then all of a sudden, my parents brought this strange box home, and there were these little people inside this TV, etc.
Yeah, what? It was 7 or 8, 10 inches screen.
It was just tiny. Yeah.
Well, actually, it was a normal. I don't know what a.
Which was about.
Well, the first ones came out were 4 inches, and then they came out the 10.
Yeah, it was probably 10 or 15.
All right, you were 7 in one.
Yeah, And it would,
40,
but
48,
having
50.
these little people inside a TV that would entertain you. And
Yeah.
at that time, we had 3 channels.
Yeah.
And,
That was late.
yeah.
The original was WSAC TV out of Huntington, and then Charleston was, I think, was Channel 8, if I remember. And if you could you could use that same antenna setting for those two stations, and then a little while. What was 13 was the next one, but and you only had 12.
Well,
On your dial.
On your dial, yeah.
I'm not sure down here in our area. I came from a different place to where we had 2 Columbus and 1 Cleveland channel.
Okay.
And it was
Yeah.
just phenomenal. But can you imagine the technology that is available to us? You know, here you've set it up to where not only are we going live on the radio, but they will keep that radio for ever.
Yeah.
Till the next.
Till the next cleansing.
Yes.
You're YouTubing this, you're recording this, and you know you're putting that onto the internet for forever, etc.
Yeah. And then I'm downloading it in my computer and burning it on the disk and saving it on flash drives.
Yeah. Can you imagine what it would have been like if we were used to that?
Oh, we would be
Technology.
masters. We would have gadgets that were amazing.
And just in, 30 years ago, we did not have computers like we have here.
Right. Or cell phones.
Or cell phones.
Or microwaves.
Yeah.
Bread making machines.
Bread making machines, etc. We had to do things the hard way.
By hand.
I can still remember pushing a push mower.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had one in the backyard that we used to tear ourselves up with all the time.
So with the technology, boy, that's really opened up a lot of avenues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, people nowadays won't cut their grass if they don't have a lawnmower, a gasoline-driven lawnmower.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you know what $5 in a electric mower gets you?
what?
Someone else to.
Somebody to purchase, huh?
Yeah.
No, I still let Wanda. I still let my wife take care of mowing the lawn. but our technology. And since you're into philosophical musings, I'm going to throw out this concern or thought I have. We seem to be inundated with negativity.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you turn on the news channel, or every time you look at some of the news or things of that nature, it's just bad this and bad that. We just got through with the doomsday preppers who knew the world was coming to an end.
We're still here.
Maybe theirs did.
Yeah, maybe theirs did.
But you have seen some good things.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see some good things.
Well, actually, I mean, the things that we take for so much granted are miraculous. Milk that doesn't make the kids sick. Now you've got a whole wall of milk. You got 4% and 2% and 1% and skim milk. And my wife is
Not
lactose
milk.
intolerant, and she buys non-milk
Yeah.
and so forth. And they're all there. And the bread. I mean, you go to the supermarket and you got 50
A
feet,
wall of bread.
50 feet of bread, 5 feet high,
Yeah.
of every kind of bread. And when we were running the apartment community in Cincinnati, we were across the street from the Jewish Community Center, and we were getting Russian Jewish refugees and then after a little while, then their families would come and visit. And I met one little Jewish grandfather from Russia. Now he could speak English.
Chose not to.
Well, no, he was pretty good, but he said it's too confusing. He says in Russia you go to get a loaf of bread, and the guy gives you a loaf of bread, and that's what you get. You take it or leave it type thing. He said they go to the store, and he says all of this stuff. He says, how do you choose?
I just want bread.
we don't understand that, but a supermarket to the rest of the world is absolutely utopia.
Yeah.
I mean, heaven.
It would be.
I'm complaining because I'm having trouble with the paperwork at the pharmacy, but I can go get my medicine for somebody my age, and it's readily available. A miracle. I mean, in the history of mankind, it's never been as good as it is right now.
That's true.
And we want more.
And we want more.
Yeah, we sort of are starting to become a little bit spoiled, wouldn't you say?
A lot spoiled.
More than spoiled. I mean, you know, and not only that, we're insisting that the rest of the world do it our way.
Well, here's something I was reading on the internet today about. You're talking about doing good, and here that Chelsea Clinton, which we all know who she is, has become chairman and started the National Service Day. She says inspired by her family and by Martin Luther King's life and legacy. And she basically, it's Saturday is official National Service Day. First one ever is my understanding. And basically, she just wants you to go do something good for your neighbors.
No, that's great.
Yep, that will help make our community and world a little better. Like just cleaning up the neighborhood, clean up your neighbor's neighbor, your neighborhood. Do something nice for somebody.
Well,
and just help out.
I think that's great. Back when I hadn't really seen the effect of it too much as I grew up. The people took care of the neighborhoods and so forth, and they go out and get the garbage, keep the dogs out of the garbage and so forth. But when Patty and I got into the apartment community, we had 43 acres, 365 apartments, and the boss said, when you go by, if there's something on the ground, you pick it up and put it in the trash can. Right. We had containers around. And that became a mantra then, is wherever you're going, you're picking up stuff. Now, I still do this.
I
pick it up, and it's based on the concept, if I don't like it, change it.
Yeah.
And that's my edict to myself, is if it's offensive to me, then change it.
Don't just walk past it. Or squawk about it and keep on going.
And in our neighborhood and wherever we've been, we do this. We also say hello and how are you to the neighbors. That's all that's necessary. Yeah. Instead of walking by them silently. And it changes a place into a group of people. It makes a neighborhood out of the thing by learning names and again, picking up the trash. Helping somebody with their groceries out of the car.
Or throwing a newspaper up on the porch when it's raining, walking past.
Or mowing someone's lawn without $5.
There you go, mowing exactly.
But that is a good point.
Yeah.
Well, this whole idea is goes all the way back to, we had a book I was reading about is supposedly the childhood training of Jesus by
his teacher.
the Essenes. And the Essenes taught a variation of this, but they called it the way. In other words, you work with your people, you cooperate, you don't think bad thoughts, you assist, and you're it isn't so much that you're required to, as that's the way it's supposed to be. And it gets rid of some of the things we find so offensive.
Yeah.
Well, you bring up a good point, and that is, I was led to believe that most people like controversy. Most people like, for instance, if there's an accident, everyone slows down, and some people slow down.
No,
some
I don't.
people,
Well, I slow down at the traffic. I got to get away, but I'm not a rubbernecker. Never have been.
right.
You know?
But we look for tragedy in other individuals, and that's not necessarily the case, as much as we're led to believe. Wouldn't you agree?
I think most of that is more. I'm looking at. Thank goodness that ain't me. And there's a lesson to be learned there. The other side is I know I've been in several situations where I have been the one that had to respond to a casualty, but in other cases, people that apparently were more talented than I. All I did then was get the heck out of the way and let them take care of the mess. And that, I guess, the people that want to gawk haven't got anything else to do, I guess.
I don't know.
Are you finding in your studies and things of that nature where there's a lot of people becoming dissatisfied with the negativity?
Yes.
And that people are becoming tired of, people
Status
want more.
quo?
Yeah, people want more out of life and are focusing.
Well,
Well, it comes
certainly.
to like what he was saying. We got all this stuff and we want more. Well, we got all the goodies. It's time to move on to the spiritual side.
Well, the thing is that when you find and are able to impart positiveness to the situation, there's a great response, which I interpret as the people that have a lack of positivity. Mm-hmm. Now we spent over the last last year, I guess, a goodly number of hours in the hospitals.
Yeah.
And the different kinds of people and how they respond. And I find it interesting that we went to King's Daughter in Kentucky. And that was a year ago or 6 months ago. The most satisfying experience, I even told them, use those words, that this was a satisfying experience to come to the hospital. Now, we were visiting somebody else. I wasn't the one who's sick.
Yeah.
That would have been a little less satisfying.
Yeah.
But anyway, the group had put together a package that was absolutely delightful. Mm-hmm. Now, the negativity creeps in. The guys that were doing the promotion were doing the selling. And salesmen are always opportunistic. And the business people came in, the accountants, and they said, "You can't do that. We can't afford that." And so they cut the staff. They cut the frivolity. The people are now overworked.
Yep,
and they were. Can I help you, Pat? Is there anything else? And they go out of the way to help you. They're too harried and rushed to do much more than get out of my way type thing. Mm-hmm. And it was very sad to see the problem that's coming there, and we do this negativity to ourselves then.
Yes.
Well, that is very, very true. Yeah. I do want to thank you for inviting me on the show.
Well, you're welcome anytime.
Well, thank you. I really like your baby blankets.
Thank you.
I know that baby blankets were acquired from England.
Yes.
Wow.
They've been sent to England.
In different parts of the United States.
Yeah.
I do hope that you continue these podcasts and as you invite individuals onto the show, etc. Perhaps what you're doing is right, and that's bringing the positive things in life. So, again, thank you for
Thank
letting
you.
me intrude onto your show.
Anytime.
Well, we want to thank you for listening to our podcast today. We'll return with our continuing viewpoints next Tuesday at 2 p.m. where we'll continue this discussion. I'm Steve.
I'm Teresa.
And I'm Patrick.
And thank you for listening. Think positive
Be positive.
and live positive.
Enjoy.
Gigi Blankies, thank you for listening to the podcast today. This program is archived at Blog Talk Radio, captured and archived for YouTube video, and linked to Facebook as Musings with Steve and Teresa. Think positive, be positive, live positive, and enjoy.